contracts being canceled. 1 out of 7 contracts are being canceled in the United States. How does this happen? Well, we're going to talk about it in this video. Hey friends, this is Jon DeHart with the Homes from DeHart Real Estate team, where home is where DeHart is, and we're your real estate resource here in Northern Virginia and the Washington, D.C. metro area. And our goal at this channel is to be your #1 real estate resource for all things that you need to know regarding residential real estate in and around Washington, D.C. We really aim to provide the most relevant and practical and reliable information that you can find on the internet about Northern Virginia and the Washington, D.C. metro area. So if you're thinking about making a move, we would love to connect with you. So please do me a favor and email me or call me or text me at the number and email below, and I'll be happy to chat with you and hop on a phone call and see if we could be a resource for you. And if you're enjoying the content, please make sure to like and subscribe by hitting the subscribe button so you'll be the first to know about what's happening here in the real estate market of Washington, D.C. So let's talk about why contracts fall out. So just assume that a house is under contract, and for all sorts of different reasons, that contract falls apart, gets voided, contracts are terminated. Why is this happening? Well, there's tons of reasons why it's happening. One of the main reasons why is that we're seeing picky buyers. So lots of options, inventory starting to creep up is a main reason why we're seeing, houses that are under contract fall out of contract. And typically it's because, even when buyers are under contract on a house, they're actually looking at other houses still, sometimes to the day that they're going to closing, sometimes the hour before they're about to sign the documents. It's really important that you know that buyers have more selections right now than they had before, and the inventory is a little bit higher every single month over the past year than it was last year. It's a main reason why we're seeing, contracts falling out. Another reason why is home inspection findings. So assume that you're a buyer and you go under contract on a house and you get the opportunity to do a home inspection on that property and you find deficiencies in the property. So for instance, structural damage, which is a major problem. If you find that the roof needs to be replaced, HVAC major systems need to be updated or replaced, maybe that you didn't know about, that's some reason for buyers to have pause and say, you know what, I'm not moving forward with this. It also gives the buyer the opportunity to sometimes go to the seller and say, hey, if I'm in your situation and I've got to pay an extra $15,000 or $20,000 that I wasn't expecting, as the seller, can you please help us out with some credits or reducing the price? But that's a main reason why we're also seeing contracts falling out. So another reason, the third reason is buyers are having to actually sell their existing house before they actually can buy your house. So it's basically, if you think about it, it's like a domino effect. If you are in a position as a buyer and you're writing an offer that says that it's contingent on the sale of your house, well, you've got to get your house closed first in order to have the proceeds and the resources to buy the next house. And in that situation, you have a couple different options. You can do what they call as a kick-out clause, which you can talk about in another video, or you can actually have just a straight clause that says, I have to sell my house. It's a condition that it's contingent on the sale of your house. And if your house doesn't sell, there's no way to make the other house go. The fourth reason is uncertainty in the future, not knowing where or if they're gonna have jobs. So right now we're smack dab in the middle of a government shutdown. And I've really haven't seen any sort of uncertainty like this in quite a while here in the DC metro area. First of all, my heart goes out to you if you've been impacted by that. And we're really hoping and praying that the government will get back on track because it's so important for our local economy. So let's say that you're in the situation where under contract on a house and right now the government is shut down and you can't get your pay stub. Well, you're going to need that in order to provide to the lender in order to get your loan. And if you can't provide that to the lender, then we're starting to see all sorts of issues moving forward where buyers who work for the government are positioned to buy the house any day now, and unfortunately can't close on that until this government shutdown has been sorted out. So it's a major impact on our local economy. Other areas really aren't getting that impacted by this, but we are for sure. The fifth reason is not having their loan fully approved. What that means is you go out and you're a buyer and you find on some lender online who gives you some pre-approval or pre-qualification, and you feel like you're fully committed to getting this loan. Well, there's a lot of conditions that have to happen for you to get these loans. One of the most important things you can do is getting your loan fully approved before you go under contract. So even if you write a contract that's not contingent on a financing or appraisal, you actually have confidence that you know that you're going to get that loan. What are some of the ways we can prevent this from happening? Staging and making the house presented its very best is crucial right now. I cannot speak more about staging and staging homes. I just think it's such an important aspect to getting your home sold, making it show the absolute best it can. We believe in it so much that we have a full-time home stager on our team who helps our sellers who are listing their houses with us stage their house and present it in the best way possible. Another item to consider is really getting your work done prior to listing the house. So if you have inspectors coming through your house, let's say you're under contract, the buyer has an inspection period that they have to inspect your house, you want to make sure that all those little items that you know about are repaired prior to that inspector walking in the door. So for instance, if you know your dishwasher is not working, you might want to go ahead and fix the dishwasher or replace it. If you know there's a leak in the basement, you're going to want to fix that because that problem might be a $500 problem to you. However, if the buyer identifies it and they find their inspector comes through and says, hey, this thing is actually going to be triple that, they're going to ask for sometimes 5-6 times what it could cost you to fix it up front. So I always recommend anything any deficiencies in the house that you're aware of, try to fix them before you go under contract. Another thing you can do, talk to the buyer and make sure that they are fully committed. Make sure you do all the research that you can on the buyer if you're in the selling position, because you want to make sure too that they're committed to living there for a long term, at least 3 years. You don't want to be in a position that you talk to a buyer and you feel like they like the house but they don't love it. You almost want to make sure they have skin in the game and that they're fully committed to moving forward. So if you're in a multiple contract situation, you're not always picking the buyer with the highest price. A lot of times you're picking the buyer who you feel like is the most committed to buying the house. One of the major items we can also do, you want to make sure that buyer is fully underwritten by a local lender. I cannot stress this enough. You want to make sure somebody knows the market and understands it intimately before you go under contract with that person. We've been through the ringer with lots of buyers recently who did not do this. We're on the listing side. We more or less went through the whole contract phase and we had some delays and things like that. It could have been prevented if that buyer was fully underwritten prior to writing the offer. At the end of the day, there are tons of different reasons why contracts can fall out of place. The main thing you're trying to do is just mitigate the most risk if you're the seller. And if you're a buyer, you really want to make sure that you have solid real estate representation in a wonderful lender who you trust intimately when it comes to buying a home, especially in this very competitive market. I hope all this was really helpful, and if it was, please do me a favor and you can email me or text me at the email address and the number below. Happy to hop on a call with you and discuss your plans and see how we can best serve you. And make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to get the most relevant information with regards to real estate here in Northern Virginia. Until next time, this is Jon DeHart, your residential real estate resource here in the Washington, D.C. metro area. And just remember, home's where DeHart is. Have a great day.